I was never the kind of person who dreamed of being a father. I always thought that was something distant, reserved for people who had their whole lives planned, which was never my case. I liked freedom, friends, and spontaneous trips. But everything changed when I met Anna. She was calm, gentle, and had that kind of smile that made time seem to slow down. Within a few months, we were living together, and a year later, we found out she was pregnant. I remember the exact moment the test turned positive. I stared at that tiny stick with 2 red lines and felt the ground vanish beneath my feet. Anna cried with joy, and I, in the middle of the shock, managed to smile. From that moment on, I realized my life had just changed forever. I began to see the world differently, as if everything around me had gained new meaning. Even the sound of traffic felt softer, like the universe had quietly handed me a new purpose. During the pregnancy, we made plans, bought tiny clothes, and argued over names. I wanted Laura, she wanted Helena. We went with Helena, of course, and now I can't imagine any other name for my daughter. The birth was a mix of fear and emotion. When I heard that first cry, my heart seemed to stop for a second. I held that tiny being in my arms and thought, this is it. This is who I'll live for from now on. The first months weren't easy. We slept little, argued over silly things, and I still struggled to balance work and our new routine. But just looking at Helena sleeping, with her small hands and soft smile, made everything worth it. Over time, the nights became less chaotic and the house grew warmer, fuller. Each day, I realized how much that little person was teaching me about patience and love, more than any book or advice ever could. Helena grew up too fast. One day, she was crawling across the living room floor. The next, she was running after the cats and asking endless questions. I always loved talking to her, even when she barely spoke. The first time she said daddy was such a simple moment, but I'll never forget it. I was sitting on the couch exhausted when she came to me holding a crooked drawing. Daddy, she said proudly. And that was it. That word meant more than anything I had ever achieved in my life. The following years passed like a fast-forwarded movie. Birthday parties, school projects, afternoons at the park. I became that father who shows up at every meeting, learns to braid hair, and memorizes lines for school plays. Anna used to laugh and say I was over the top, but I knew it was just my way of trying to enjoy every second, because time with children is unforgiving. And sometimes when she slept, I would just watch her and wonder what kind of woman she would become. When Helena turned 10, Anna and I separated. It wasn't an angry ending, but it still hurt. The hardest part was seeing my daughter try to understand why her father didn't live with her anymore. I promised her I'd always be around, and I kept that promise. I never missed a weekend, a recital, a birthday. Still, sometimes when she left after Sunday, the silence in the house was deafening. In that silence, I learned the value of presence. Over time, things settled. Helena grew up kind, smart, and full of light. One day, before I left on a work trip, she handed me a folded note. Daddy, no matter where you are, I always know you love me. I kept that paper in my wallet, and it's still there to this day. Sometimes when things get hard, I take it out just to remind myself that in the end, what truly matters is the love we plant and let grow. Now she's 17, about to go to college, and sometimes she looks at me like the world is too big to fit in our plans. I smile and let her dream, knowing that one day she'll understand that a father's love isn't in the words, it's in the choices, the silences, and the moments we learn to let go. I still remember that first time, the 2 red lines, the fear mixed with happiness. And I realized that being a father isn't about being ready, it's about being there. Today, when she runs out the door and shouts, "Bye, Dad," I still feel the same shiver as years ago.
The same pride.
The same quiet certainty that everything I've done, and everything I'll ever do, is and always will be for her.